In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the true 144,000 that's being gathered in this day and time, the real new covenant for the future. Good evening, I am your host, the intellectual Nuben Menkarayz, and this is Mentellect Radio, and tonight we're going to be discussing whether sun rays are used by advanced beings to send intelligence to chosen people. Yeah, they are. And see, the problem, people, like certain people will hear that and they'll think, oh, it's metaphysical, it's pseudo spiritual, all this nonsense people would say. They won't think that it's viable or that it's an actual fact to make this statement that advanced beings are using the sun to project sunlight or project sun rays onto the planet to transport intelligence to it. This is very real. This is very real. People would love to believe that intelligence, good ideas come from them. People would love to believe that. They would love to believe that knowledge is already within you, right? People love to think that everything is within. Nothing comes from outside you. That's the big thing with a lot of these people out here. Your so-called conscious, your so-called educated. They want to believe that all the knowledge you have is already stored inside of you, and that's not true. If that was true, then who decides when that knowledge explodes outward? Who decides when you start transmitting or sharing knowledge, whether you're 3 years old, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever? Who decides that? Who decides that? You were to ask a young child, average young child about certain things, they wouldn't be privy to certain knowledge that they would probably have later on in life. So why can't that young child trigger that knowledge that they have within if you ask them that question? Right? People love to believe that everything is within. See, because if you start to think that knowledge is coming outward in, then you have to ask yourself, well, why am I not chosen to receive certain knowledge? Why am I not chosen? If you make that statement that all knowledge is within, right, and not from the outside that you're pulling in, then so-called black people would have to then, look to white people, the ones who are your scientists and all these other people who are doing this, right, who have this so-called knowledge, and then they would have to say to themselves, well, damn, what is it in them that we don't have in us? Why are they in charge and ruling things and we're not? What is it inside of them that has them in charge over the academic scope of everything, sitting over politics and things like that, running the world? What is in it in these people? Are they more smarter than us? Are they more advanced in their thinking than we are? Right? Do they have something inside them that's made up to make them good at receiving and good at, carrying out these streams of intelligence? Are they just smarter than us altogether? They tried to push this nonsense. A lot of your pseudoscientists try to push this nonsense of racial supremacy and intellectual supremacy when they talked about a fake science that they're now calling a pseudoscience called phrenology, where they went around basically making up this lie that the Caucasian brain is bigger than everybody else's brain. There's some lie they try to make up, that the Caucasian brain is bigger than everybody else's, that black people have the smallest brains, all kind of other nonsense, right? And people actually think that knowledge is stored in your brain from the time you were born. And this is a bunch of nonsense. This is nonsense. Knowledge is not stored in your brain from the time you were born. Because if that's the case, then you can start doing things as early as you want to. You can start doing things as early as you want to. Even if you say you have to have something from the outside channeling that knowledge to kick in within you, That means something from the outside has to trigger it to happen. Like people would say, well, you have to go through certain things and experience certain things in the outside world, in your life in order for certain knowledge to kick in. Okay, so then if you're saying you have to experience certain things from the outside in order for the knowledge to kick in, then that's you admitting that certain situations have to transpire outwardly in order for you to receive knowledge inwardly. You have to go through certain experiences, right? You have to go through certain experiences. And what are these experiences triggered by? To bring this knowledge outside of you, or to receive this knowledge to come outside of you. What is it triggered by? What puts you in situations to get these things to trigger inside of you, or things to go inside you to bring things out? Certain situations have to happen in your surroundings, in your environment, for things to come out inside of you. These situations are forms of intelligence that you are receiving, that you have to receive to trigger something to react within you. You might have, or you will, I should say, you will have a certain way of thinking in your character and your persona and your personality and your mental makeup to react a certain way. But something has to be triggered. Certain intelligence has to come from outside in to trigger it. Because without that transmission of light, of intelligence, of things going on in the atmosphere to trigger it, then there's nothing. Things have to be going on outside of you, and you have to be receiving certain things in order to bring things out of you, in order for you to put out certain knowledge. You can only put things out, right, that are going in. There's an in and out process here on earth. There's an in and out process. How are you going to say, I don't have, there's nothing going in, right? Meaning everything is made up in you, but yet you're putting something out. How are you going to say that? That's like going to the bank and saying, I'm going to take money out the bank, but I didn't put no money in the bank. Nobody does that. In the real world, that doesn't work. For you to go to some place and get something for nothing, it doesn't work. There's no such thing as free anything. There's always a free exchange of something. In other words, if you are receiving energy, intelligence, whatever, knowledge from on a higher level, if you are receiving this, then you're going to have to put it out. You take something and you put it out. You receive something, you put it out. Right? Give and take and give. Give and take and give. Polarity here on earth. Give and take and give. Even if you go through life taking something, you're going to eventually give back. In some way, shape, or form, you're going to give back. If you go through life being evil, you're going to eventually do something good. Right? Because you're going to be forced into that polarity. So there's no such thing as knowledge coming within you. You just putting out the knowledge that's in you. No, you have to receive something in order to put it out. That's part of the polarity. We live in an earth, we live in a planet that's based on polarity. Positive, negative, good and evil, give and take and give. However you switch it around, there has to be a polar opposite. When we say, people who are highly intelligent are bright people, why do you think we used to saying that people who are highly intelligent are bright people? They always show you the light bulb over people's head, light, bright. What does that mean? Why do they show you the light over their head? Why do they show you people who are considered to be advanced or special beings, whether they call themselves angels, whether they call themselves ETs, extraterrestrials? They always show you people with light around their head, or what they call an aura, or a holla, or a halo, whatever. They always show you people with light around their head. Why do they do this? Why do they do this? Answer, because that is intelligence streaming from the sun that is being attracted into the third eye, or the pineal gland, or the mind's eye, or the mind's light around the brain. You are receiving intelligence through solar projection. I'm going to say it again. You are receiving instruction, direction, intelligence through solar projection. Someone is projecting sun rays that carry intelligence on it, directions on it, instructions on it, advanced for you to receive and for you to put out. For you to receive, right, and put out. for you to receive and for you to transmit to others. You receive higher levels of intelligence, higher streams of intelligence, right? Because you will be chosen as the one to put it out based on your personality, based on who you are. People will say, oh, all the knowledge that you have is inside of you. Like I said, it's ridiculous. Because even when you're going out and you're learning things, I don't care if it's scientists, they're going out researching things. So if the scientists if you're saying that everything is inside of you and nothing comes from outside of you, tell that to the scientists who you look up to who research things. The things they're researching are things on the outside of them. They're looking at rock formations. They're looking at the sky. They're looking through telescopes. They're looking at things outside of them to try to get some knowledge to come within. So when you talk this nonsense, because it's only like usually black people say foolishness, like everything you know is, well, there ain't nothing outside yourself. What are you talking about? So if these people are constantly researching and looking, they're seeking knowledge outside themselves to get a greater or better understanding of that knowledge, right? And it's based on what? What they see. And your vision is based on what? Light. Your vision is based on light. I saw one of the coming attractions to the movie, and it was very interesting. Just the coming attraction alone of the movie Hidden Figures, where they have the three black women, right, who come up with the mathematical equation of putting a man on the moon, right? John Glenn, right? Now, in one of the scenes, they said there's no math that's invented or no math that's made to put a man on the moon, and they said, well, we're going to invent some math, right? Now the women had the whole thing, so they was telling the white men, the so-called scientists, they was telling them, about some new math that they was putting out, and they said that's not math. We don't even see. It's nothing like that. They said that's because you don't see it. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like where they held up. I don't know if they held up a picture of space or whatever. They held up something. They was like, you can't see it. In other words, they basically saying what I've been saying is that everything in this atmosphere is being streamed through this atmosphere through light. All the intelligence that's here on Earth, how this Earth was created, the ages of everything on Earth, rock formations, animals, how they got here, all of the genetic makeup and the material for everything a person, place, and possession on Earth is already being streamed through this atmosphere. The instructions for Earth are being streamed through the sun rays or through the sunlight, what you call the sunlight. They've already been streamed here. And constant intelligence is going to be streamed here into this planet. Why? Because certain people have to pick up that intelligence to share it with the world, to give you a greater understanding of what you're looking at, the things that are in existence. You have to have a greater understanding of it as you are evolving as a race of people. You have to have a greater understanding. Someone has to explain this to you. This is how your mind expands. People have to receive that intelligence via light projection or what we call bright projection. Because bright projection breaks down. It starts off as brightness and it breaks off when it comes into this atmosphere as light and then dark. All intelligence starts off as bright, in a state of brightness. And then when it reaches this atmosphere, it converts into light and dark, the polarities, so that people can understand it. Because the people who get in the brightness that is being converted into light, they get that knowledge and they share it with the world. These are the ones who usually become scientists and things like that, and they share it with the people who are in darkness, the people who have no idea. So they make it to where you can know what it is, or they try to give you some knowledge on it. But that intelligence is streamed into this atmosphere. It is not coming from any scientists. It is not coming from any so-called educated people or any theology people or religious people. That intelligence is being streamed into this atmosphere by those who created this atmosphere, by those who created this planet. Right? That's where this intelligence is coming from. Because if you're going to tell me that there are no advanced beings, there is no higher intelligence that created everything we see, and I see a structure and an order here. You can clearly see a structure and an order here and structures and orders are put in place by thinking minds, by people, not by any objects, not by any random explosions. We went through this already. That's pure foolishness. Anything that has a structure, anything that has an order to it, you will naturally ask, who did this? Who put this together? You're going to naturally ask that. But then when the scientists get their hands on it, they're going to say, oh, it just happened. Nothing just happens. If there's a structure and an order to it, then it was put in place by thinking minds, by calculating minds, by minds who were configuring and figuring out things. Why you have a biological structure and a biological makeup. This was all forms of configuration. These were all forms of measurement. These were thought out. Right? Everything was thought out that was brought into existence here on Earth. These are advanced beings. And those who were created on the Earth were supposed to receive this knowledge of these advanced beings, supposed to follow after the order of these advanced beings, and share this knowledge with those in darkness, those who would receive the knowledge as a form of light energy through solar projection, would share it with people in the darkness, the ones who have to be educated on it, the ones who are not going to look into the sun, who are not going to look into the air, not going to look into the wind, not going to look into the atmosphere, not look at the rocks, not look at the elements and things of that nature. You got people who are not going to look at that. You have people who have a natural light to them, or a natural form of curiosity to them, mental curiosity, where they're going to look at and examine these things. They're going to examine the elements. They're going to examine this, look at the sun. They're going to look into space, look at the stars, look at all these things to see what it is they see based on their observation. And based on what they see in their observation and their visual encounter, they're going to share it in books for those who are in the dark. This is the whole point of them receiving this. People are not housing this intelligence at birth. They're not. They're not. They just start receiving. Those who you even call geniuses are the ones who just start receiving it early. They're the ones who start receiving it early. When you see, they tell you, they refer to an intelligent person as one who is bright, and they show you the light around their head. That's a sign that their mind is working, and that their mind is pulling in reception. Their mind is working, and they're pulling in reception. Thus the light around their brain is because that light represents carries a magnetic pulsation and a pull to it that pulls in that stream of intelligence that's coming into the planet. Right? So they receive that intelligence via transmission, because this is all about communication. Your mind is a open communicator and antenna for reception. That's what your mind is. Right? Your mind is an open reception center. Like, for example, people will say, well, you again, on this thing talking about everything that you know is in you already. No, you're not. No, it's not. Because if you leave somebody out in the wilderness somewhere and they're not listening to nobody talk, they're not watching how to interact with people, they're not learning how to, to do certain things, then you have a bunch of savages. You'll have people who will be defecating on themselves, urinating on themselves. They wouldn't know how to speak. They wouldn't know how to interact with people. They'd be like wild animals. But they have to have outside encounter. They have to be around people. That's the same way the knowledge works. If you are not receiving knowledge from the outside coming in, then you're not going to have a clue on how to function here. No matter, even if you watch people. Because even when you looking at people here in society, whether you raised at home with a mother and a father, you watching, you interacting with people, you're only going to receive a certain level of intelligence based on that. You're only going to receive a certain level of intelligence. You'll learn how to do menial things. You'll learn how to go to the bathroom. You'll learn how to eat. You'll learn how to interact with people, but nothing much else. Why? Because that light around the brain is dim, and it's not pulling in that greater projection of light from the sun, which is supposed to give you a greater or an advanced form of intelligence. You're supposed to be receiving that intelligence to extend yourself. So when you're not receiving that intelligence to extend yourself, extend your way of thinking, advance your way of thinking, when that light is not on around the brain, when it's not receiving that bright reception or that solar projection from the sun, which has the instruction for what you're supposed to be receiving on it, when you're not picking that up, then you're not advancing. You're not advancing. See, in this society, the whole point of dumbing people down is to keep people in darkness, to keep you away from that bright reception of those sun rays that are carrying light transmission on it. They don't want the chosen people to receive that transmission of light. They don't want the chosen people to receive that transmission of intelligence. So what do? They keep you locked into submental and dark transmission. Because even what you learn here in society, when you learn about turning up and acting like a savage and listening to ignorant hip hop, you learn from the outside. You're not born wanting to do that stuff. You're not born wanting to listen to stupid music. You're not born wanting to be a thug. You're not born wanting to be these things. You have to be around people like that. You have to be around people like that and be receptive to people like that. So again, outside in. The outside in. So what they do is they contaminate your environment with darkness, things that are absent of light, calling you black people, so that you'll never receive the projection of light of that solar intelligence. You'll never receive it. Because you up here thinking there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that's in me is already in me. I'm already made up of who I am. And that's a sad thing if you really believe that. Because when you got so many so-called black people and so many people, just people in general in the world who are adding up to nothing, and then you say to yourself, well, damn, is that the best you could do if you say everything is already in you and then you turn into nothing? You become nothing. What does that say? What does that say? That says that you are a limited person and you are accepting that limitation, that no light will reach its way or make its way to you. You're saying that there is no knowledge coming from beyond the sun. You're saying this. You're saying that no knowledge, no light, no transmission from the sun is going to reach you. Now, if you then turn around after listening to this and say, well, you know what, brother, I agree with you. There is some intelligence, there is some knowledge, there is some light coming from the sun that's bringing intelligence. If you say that, then you can no longer say there's nothing new coming from beyond the sun or from the sun, or nothing new under the sun. You're just not the one that's receiving it because you're in darkness. You're just not the one that's receiving it. You're not of the chosen people to receive it because you have already accepted that no new light, no new bright knowledge, or no new solar projection or transmission is coming to you. You've already accepted this because this is too far out for you. And your mind is too far out. That's why I said today, I made a statement on Facebook today. I said the most so-called educated people in society are still ignorant because they are operating within the matrix of mankind. They are operating in the limited matrix of mankind, so therefore they are limited. All you so-called educated black people who will say, listen to me and say, oh, that's pseudo, what he talking about, you basing it on what? On the limitations of what you got from the white man. Because if he came and said something, the ones who you base your high academic accreditations on, who gave you your academic accreditations, if you base it, then you are limited. You base it on him, and what he says is factual, and what he says is not factual, or what he says is pseudo, then you basing your level of intelligence on him and what he thinks. You're placing him above your level of intelligence. But you know what? That's how you've been programmed to think, that there is nothing beyond these academic scholars and things on the earth. You don't look beyond these people. So when we're talking about light projection, a solar projection, and advanced beings, the creators of this society, or the creators of this planet, sending intelligence into the planet, that's over your head. You don't think that's possible. I don't see him. I don't see him. I don't see him. You see they work. You see they work. You see their work. If you come across a building that's built and you ain't seen the people that built it, do you think that the building built itself? Or you're going to think that the building was built by people who you just never seen before. You're going to think that that building was built by people you never seen before. You're not going to think that the building threw itself together. So if that's plausible to think, then how the hell can you be standing on Earth that has all of this structure, that has all of this order? How are you part of something that has a biological structure and makeup? Everything has a structure and makeup, and think that there is no intelligence that you cannot see, or that is beyond you. What you need to be saying is, how can I reach that intelligence that is beyond me? How do I connect with that? That's what you need to be saying. And we're doing this within Mentellect. It is time for our people to reach that solar projection, to connect to that solar projection. We was the first ones to say that all intelligence is being transmitted here through solar projection. I said that in my book over a year and a half ago. All intelligence is transmitted, all real intelligence is transmitted through solar projection to this planet, and that advanced beings are using the sun to transmit intelligence here. And how you know that is, if this planet does not receive sunlight or adequate sunlight, the people on it, then like I said again, you suffer from something called sundowner's disease, where you will go through states of dementia, where you won't remember your name, you won't know why you're going in certain places, why you in certain areas, things like that. You start losing parts of your memory. You start losing parts of your mental makeup. You start losing direction. So that means that if you are absent of that sun light or that sun ray that's coming to the planet, that sun energy which is carrying your intelligence on it to keep you in alignment to why you're here, what is your purpose here, what are you doing here. If you lose that, then like I said, you walking around in a state of dementia. You don't know what the point is here. So that proves that you need that sunlight. You need that outer light that's coming into the planet to keep you in a state of cognizance, to keep you in a state of clarity. You need that light. But going off of what you people say about, everything I need to know is already in me, it is not. Or else you wouldn't need the sunlight. Everything that you're getting on Earth is being transmitted to you. Everything. The plants, the trees, the earth, everything that's coming into this earth is receiving instruction and direction. Everything that is receiving light on earth is receiving instruction and direction. The plants are receiving instruction and direction on how to grow, how far to grow, when they're going to die. All that is, when is it going to, same thing with the people. Everything here from that sun's projection is receiving instruction. Everything. People, places, and possession. Please know that. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm saying know this. All intelligence that is going into the planet is being projected here through the sun. Not from the sun itself, for you, a lot of you people who are caught up in object worship. Because a lot of you people are caught up in object worship. A lot of you people will say, I got to give praise to the sun. I got to give praise to the water. I got to give praise to the trees. I got to give praise to to the moon, whatever you give praise to. These are objects. These are objects. Objects are being utilized by subjects, by people, by personified beings. They're being used. Same way you turn on a light in a room to see is the same way they use the sun to project intelligence to you, chosen people on the planet. They're using the sun to send intelligence onto the planet. They're using the sun's rays to project light, aka life and intelligence, onto the planet. It's not here just to heat up the planet. It's not here just to have the earth spinning around. It's here to send or project intelligence onto, or else you would not get sundowner's disease, or else you would not be in a state of dementia, or else, like I said, you wouldn't be dying off or passing away or suffering from lack of vitamin D deficiency. Right? This alters your ability to receive instruction and direction. This instruction and direction is what is supposed to be part of your evolutional advancement as people. If you are not receiving this solar projection or this solar light projection into your pineal gland, into your mind's eye, to that light around your brain, into the mind, if it's not permeating or penetrating, right, with that instruction on it, then guess what? You're not going to reach that higher pinnacle of yourself. You're not going to reach that higher state of self, an advanced state of self. You're not going to start evolving because the sun, the light of the sun, the projected light of the sun causes evolution, causes growth, causes mental transmission. If you don't have that, then you're going to fall out. You're going to lose. You're not going to evolve mentally. You will not evolve mentally. This is the reality. You will not evolve mentally. You will continue to revolve in a state of darkness, in a state of ignorance. See, people think this is normal, that you are revolving in a state of darkness or revolving in a state of dead belief, right? That you are revolving in that state when it's not normal. It's not normal. You're supposed to be evolving into a state of higher intelligence through that solar projection. You're supposed to be evolving by way of that. And who is sending that? These almond beings I'm talking about. Those almond beings that I've been talking about are sending this solar projection of intelligence, light intelligence, to a chosen people. They're sending it to a chosen people. This is why you only have certain people who will be considered geniuses or accomplished people in the world, and everybody's not. Everybody's not considered that because that projected form of intelligence is only going to be for chosen people. And the people who are not chosen are going to be led by the chosen people. They're going to be led. This is why you have followers and leaders. Everybody's not meant to be a leader. The 144,000, those who are of the elect, they are the chosen people who are coming out of the so-called black race. And they will be regenerated or recharged as the bright race because they will receive this solar projection of communication and advanced intelligence. They're going to receive it. And in fact, we're receiving it now. That's why we can speak like this now. But the essence of who you are, the natural essence of who you are, has to be intact. I'm going to say it again. The natural essence of who you are, the solar essence, the personified essence of who you are has to be intact. What do I mean by that? If you are doing things that are unnatural to who you are, solar beings, as soul beings, if you are engaging in homosexuality, lesbianism, if you're getting high, if you caught up in believing that you black or that you African or that whatever you think you are, if you caught up in any forms of these limitations, if you believe you are African, that you black, you a Negro or whatever, if you following behind the image of the beast, and that means following their philosophies, following their scientific nonsense, whatever, they religious nonsense. If you're caught up in following behind those who were created, then you will block yourself off from receiving that solar projected light. You will block yourself off from receiving that solar projected transmission. You have to be in the forefront to receive it. You can't be behind nobody else. You have to be in the forefront to receive it. Why you think the white man is receiving all the knowledge on the earth? Because he ain't standing behind nobody. He's standing in the forefront to receive your light. He's standing in the forefront to receive your light. And he got you standing behind him as his shadow, as black people, to give basically what he chooses to give you. If he chooses to give you some pseudoscience or whatnot, tell you that you came from monkeys and all other kind of stupidity that you believe coming from the white man, then that's why you're not receiving that projection or that projected transmission from the sun, because you're standing behind everybody else. You standing behind everybody else. You're not standing out in the front. That got you standing in the background. These so-called educators are going to keep you standing behind everybody else. Keep you standing behind the white man. Keep you standing behind the East Indians. Keep you standing behind the Asians and whatnot. Instead, you standing out front. And you will never stand out front to receive that solar projected transmission as black people. You will never stand out front to receive that. And you will never be of the chosen to receive that solar projection as black people. Because black people translates as block people or people in darkness, people who are absent of the light or the bright transmission. That's why they get you to call yourself that. That's why. This transmission is constantly coming into the planet. But only a chosen few people are getting it. And a lot of the people who are getting it are the wrong people that are getting it. That's why you got the wrong people in charge on the planet. This is why you got the wrong people in power on the planet, because the right people refuse to get it. The right people refuse to stand in the front of everybody and get it. The right people who's supposed to be getting it have made themselves the wrong people over time. They've made themselves the wrong people over time. And the people who were the wrong people, who now put themselves in the seat to be the right people, the ones of light, your Caucasians and your human race and all them, they're getting it because they put you in the darkness. And you're not receiving the brightness of that light. You're not receiving that solar projected intelligence. You're not receiving that intelligence that's going to raise you on a higher level mentally. You're not receiving it. You're looking for it to come from the white man. You're looking for it to come from him. You're looking to read some book that he wrote, or read some book that some Negro who was educated by him wrote, or some Indian or some Asian. You're looking for other people to teach you about the light, teach you about the brightness. You're looking for somebody else to do that. You're looking to read it out of a book. That's exactly why you're not going to be of the chosen. That's exactly why. Because only one who is of the chosen can teach the people about this solar projection. Only those who are of the chosen. Those who are of the elect, or the electrified, or the regenerated ones in this day and time. That's what this translates into. Generation, regeneration, electrified. Those who have that solar energy or that solar power coursing through their bodies. Receiving that transmission, that future transmission of intelligence. That's what this translates as. And a lot of you are not going to get it, because you'll listen to the videos, you'll watch the videos. Like, this is going to be a video after the show is over. This is going to be a video that's going to be put up by my people on Mentellect Radio. And hell, it might even be a video on Mentellect Channel. And a lot of y'all going to still say, oh, wow, brother, I like the knowledge you're giving. Where can I read this at? See? You do that, still looking to be in darkness, seeking light from those who are not even supposed to be receiving this transmission. You looking for them to give you the transmission, that which you're supposed to be getting on your own. Or your ego is saying, oh, can't no so-called person who look like me be giving me this knowledge? We're the white guy that wrote the book. We're the Indian guy. We're the Asian guy. Or we're the black guy who was educated by the white people that write these books. They're qualified to speak on these things. According to who? But that's the mentality you got. And this is why that light transmission, that advanced intelligence, is not going to come to our people. This is exactly why. Because this advanced intelligence, this solar projected intelligence, is what's going to take our people into a state of telepathy, clairvoyance, intuition, levitation, and going toward other planets outside the solar system, not just planets in the solar system, to start or regenerate life. Those who are of the chosen seed, the reason why they're going to receive that projected intelligence from sun light or sun transmission is because these are the ones who stayed on this path as the elect, as those who are of mentellect, those who stayed on this path and made sure that their children were born into this, and their children's children were born into this. They stayed on this path. They didn't get caught up in the matrix of being black here in America. They didn't get caught up in the matrix of being black on this planet. See, because that's the reason why a lot of people fall out the truth. The truth comes to you in brightness, but a lot of our people want to go back into blackness, into the dark. And that's where they're going to be destroyed at. That's where they're going to be put into bondage at, under the beast. Because the only way for him to maintain his light knowledge, the only way for him to maintain his light knowledge is by having people in darkness, a.k.a. your black people, and those who are ignorant of where this intelligence and this knowledge is coming from, because you actually believe it's coming from man. You actually believe that. You actually believe that knowledge is coming from man. And I done proved several times that it is impossible for knowledge to come from man, because man can't even tell you where the hell he come from. He's still, well, do I come from a monkey? Do I come from a fish? You're supposed to already know that. It's not even supposed to be no question. You're supposed to know all of this stuff. You're supposed to know how old the earth is, not speculating. If you're saying all knowledge is coming from man, you're supposed to know all this already. But you've been on the planet 6,000, 7,000, 100,000, million years, whatever long you've been on the earth, you say, and you still not sure on where all this is coming from, how it got here, what the purpose of this all is. You still researching stuff. So if you researching stuff outside yourself, then you are looking for new things under the sun, new things to discover. You are looking outside yourself if you researching stuff. And y'all look to these scientists who are researchers. They looking outside themselves. They ain't sitting up there stupid like y'all saying, oh, well, everything I know is already inside of me. Y'all are the only ones who say this foolishness. Black people are the only ones who say this foolishness. And then it don't even make sense, because if everything is already inside you, then why are you reading the scientist books then? Why are you reading the scientist books then if all the knowledge is already inside of you? If there ain't nothing new for you to learn. Why are you reading the scientist books if everything is already inside you? Problem is you look into the light and you're not looking to the bright. When I say you look into the light, you look into the people who carrying the light, the so-called Caucasians, because they place themselves in a state of lightness, and you're not looking to those who are. You're not looking to intelligence that is being streamed here by way of brightness, aka solar transmission and projection. You're not looking at that, and the reason you're not looking at that is because you look into them. See, when you stop looking to them and you start looking toward the people who are coming into the brightness, who are coming toward the solar projection, coming toward that solar transmission of projected light, right? Because this is our time to do it. We're doing this in the Republic of Mentellect. When you start looking toward those beings and those people and whatnot, then you're going to start to advance and evolve on your own. You won't need the white man and all these other people you've been looking to. But a lot of so-called black people, they're not ready to come out of the darkness. They're not ready to come out. They ain't trying to come out of the darkness. They okay with being in the darkness. You understand that? They okay with it. They okay with being in darkness. They okay with thinking, no, there's nothing new under the sun or nothing new coming from beyond the sun, because truth of the matter is, the people that talk like that, you're not of the chosen. You're not the chosen. You're not of the chosen. You're not the people who are going to receive this light on earth. You got a whole race of people who calling themselves the chosen people. Who are these people who call themselves the chosen people? The Jews. See, they acknowledge that a God outside of them is giving them the power to be the people of power on earth. And what happened? They are the people of power on earth. So obviously, they acknowledge that light is coming from outside to keep them in power. Something that we acknowledged at one time. But now we chose not to acknowledge that light is a collective body of people. We want to look to other races of people. We don't want to say that, we want to go, the sun, we should worship the sun or be object worshipers or idol worshipers and whatnot and worship idols and objects. No. There's no object giving us anything. That object is being used as a tool to give us what we need by those who are our ascendants. You know, the funny thing is, the craziest thing, when I talk about the ascendants, I talk about the almond being and the ascendants, and I'm talking about our future genetic, our future seed, because I say the almond genetic, the almond seed, the almond is our ascendants, our children, our children's children, our grandchildren. That's the almond seed. When I talk about that, people look at me like I'm crazy. Certain people, the people who are not on this level mentally, they'll look at me like I'm crazy, but you worship your ancestors. Your ancestors ain't here no more. Your ancestors not here. But you know that you came through your ancestors, that's fine. But you also know you're going to eventually have children. So if you're going to eventually have children, a new generation of children are going to be coming here through you or through your family member, whoever they're coming through, then you know that they represent the ascendancy, the future race. That is the almond race, that continuous bloodline of our people who have made it past this matrix of blackness. That is the ones who are sending us this knowledge in present time from the future. Our ascendants, the ones who made it. These are why you refer to them as the chosen, and saying that you are connected to this race of lords, this race of judges. We say this because that represents the people that held fast to this truth, who did not get caught back up in the black matrix of this world of being black people or being human or Negro, whatever the hell you calling yourself, the people who look beyond that. Who look beyond the white man, look beyond his train of thought, look beyond his education, look beyond that. The people that look beyond that. The people who wanted to connect with the beings that created this planet. which are your ascendants. That's the people who are the elect. Those are the chosen people that's going to receive this knowledge. The people who are not going to receive it are the people who say, oh, there ain't nothing new under the sun. Where can I read this in the book at? What science book? What scientist you reading from, brother? What scientist saying, aka what Caucasian is saying, or what East Indian, what Asian is saying that? That's exactly why you're not the chosen. And light projection or solar light projection will sound pseudo to a lot of people. But we're not here to make it make sense to a whole lot of people. It's going to make sense to those who are chosen. Because, like I said, in the world, how many geniuses you got? How many geniuses you got? A chosen few. But the geniuses are the ones who run the world. The mass majority of the people on the earth are dummies. They ignorant. They're people in darkness, both black and white. They people in darkness. You understand? The chosen people, the 144,000, are going to be a race of geniuses. We raising a race of geniuses within the bright race. Those people who have their souls still intact, their personified essence intact to receive this solar projected transmission of higher intelligence, advanced intelligence, telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, intuition, all of this, levitation, all that's coming. All of that's coming. See, this is what Dr. York was trying to say when he would show himself walking over people's heads, levitating and doing all this stuff. He was like, oh, he can't. No. He was talking about a community of people that would do this over time. He was speaking of himself when he showed images, like I said before, he showed images of himself in future tense doing this. Not now. He showed images of himself in future tense. He showed images of himself in future tense, not in this state. You understand that? When the people would be together as the 144,000. That's what he was showing. Those were futuristic pictures, but people were too stupid to understand that. They thought, oh, he was talking about now he could levitate over the people. Well, he's talking about future capabilities that people, whether of the 144,000, the people who are going to come out of the black race and things like the so-called black race, the people in darkness who are going to come out, they're going to receive that light via solar projected transmission from their ascendants, from on high. What is on high? From above this planet. For those who are moving in this movable planet. Now again, I know people are going to say, oh, that sounds crazy, brother. That's because you're not of the chosen. Talk like this is going to fall on deaf ears of those who are of the beast, those who got the mark of the beast on them already. The black race, they got the mark of the beast on them. So solar transmission and trying to explain solar transmission and projection of intelligence is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's like trying to explain a computer to somebody 300 years ago. If they're not of the chosen or their minds are not advanced to receive that intelligence about a computer, they're not going to get it. They're going to look at you like you crazy. But the people whose minds are open to that solar projection, that pineal gland, that mind's eye is open to that transmission that is constantly streaming through here, you can describe something to them 300 years ahead in the future, and they're going to be able to get it. They're going to be able to get it. People who are not of that, they're not going to get it. They're going to think you crazy. They're going to say, oh. And a lot of you people who say, oh, brother, I want to be that projection. I want to be that light. The only way you're going to get it, that's another reason why I said and the ascendants are separating their people. This is another reason why I say it is because the ascendants, the Amen being, knew that if they did not make a 144,000 a covenant, a community separate from everybody else, then the focus would be on the outside world. This is why you can't have people in the outside world, because y'all going to put too much energy on the outside world, and then y'all going to convert back to being black again. If you're not in a community, if you're not in a covenant, if you're not in a closed community or a closed covenant, a closed movement, separate from everybody, you're not going to get this. Because the concentration of light, or should I say the concentration of brightness, solar projected brightness, is going to be put on the 144,000. It's going to be put on the chosen people. It's going to be concentrated on them, and it's going to be cut off of everybody else after a while. And you're going to start seeing the more, in other words, and more, you start the ones of our people who come into Republic of Mentellect, who coming into the bright race, who separating from the black race, those of our people that's coming in, the more and more we start coming together collectively, we're going to draw heat. We're going to draw brightness. We're going to draw that supreme brightness. We're going to draw that solar projected light. You understand? We're going to draw that solar projected energy. We're going to start drawing it. And as we're drawing it as a collective group of people, it's going to be taken from other people. And then you're going to start seeing people getting dumber and dumber and dumber. They're going to be walking around like a bunch of savages. Like I said, they're going to look at them now. Look at what you got around you now. Look at the people you talk to. Look at the people you hang out with. Look at the people of the black race, the white race, the human race. They're becoming less and less and less intelligent. They are degenerating more and more and more. You see it. Why? Because that light energy, that projected light energy has to go somewhere. That projected solar intelligence or that transmission has to go somewhere. It has to be uploaded into a people. It has to be uploaded into a people. It has to be transmitted to a people. And it's only going to be transmitted to a collective people. It's not going to be transmitted to individuals. It ain't going to be transmitted to you and your little family. It's going to be transmitted to a whole community. 144,000. 144,000. As Dr. York said, 999. Elijah was the first group of 9. York was the second. And we in the Republican Mentalect are the third. So the 999 has already been realized and manifested when the mental connection took place. When we learn it's all about the mental connection of that people, a race of minds being led into the future, a race of transmitters, a race of receivers. And what are they receiving? They are receiving future knowledge, which is mentellect. They are receiving transmitted intelligence via solar projection from their ascendants, not from no ancestors. Not from no ancestors. You say, I never seen my ancestors before, but you know they had to exist. And I'm going to tell you something about a lot of you people who talk about your ancestors. You don't know how many of your ancestors were Caucasians or East Indians. And that's another thing why I say, but you people that's focusing on the ancestors, a lot of your ancestors were Caucasians and East Indians, people who was not even of the transmission. And that's another reason why a lot of you not getting it. A lot of you got a lot of Caucasians in your bloodline. A lot of Caucasians, a lot of East Indians, a lot of Asians, just a lot of humans in your connection. And not those who are of the bright race. You might not have one drop of bright blood in you. When I say that bright blood, I'm talking about that blood of the lords, of the supreme beings, the ones who created this, the Amen being. You might not have like one drop of blood in you because you've been mixed down so much. Just because you standing here looking like a so-called quote-unquote black man doesn't mean, or black woman, don't mean you're of the Amen race. Because you could be so mixed down, you could have so many dead receivers or dead transmitters in your family, in your genetic makeup, it's not coming to you. So you like, oh, well, what is he talking about? I don't get what he's saying. You ain't supposed to get it. You're a dead receiver. But the ones who are of the bright reception, the ones who carry the Amenic gene in them, that's why I said you got those who are of the Adamic seed, the seed of Adam, the ones who were created here, and you got those of the Amenic seed, those who came here. Those who came here and manifested the seed on the earth before they started creating the Adamic seed, before they started the creation. Those who came here were of the natural blood manifestation of that Amen race or that Amenic seed, and then you have those of the Adamic seed, those who were created here. And the majority of you black race today, y'all of the Adamic seed, man. You of the Adamic seed. You of the blood, you of the human seed, you of the creation, you of the woman seed. That's why you're so damn emotional. You're of the woman seed. You're of the female seed, I should say. You are of the female seed. You're not of the serpent seed. Because you got women who are of Amen, they're of the serpent seed. And you got men who are of the serpent seed who are of Amen. And then you got males and females who are of the woman seed, of the female seed, the created seed. That's why y'all keep talking about, y'all keep putting the woman up there. The black woman is God. The black woman is God. The black woman is God. You understand? That's why you guys got so emotional. Right? And you act like females now. And you run behind females because you are of the woman seed. That's why you keep talking about the mitochondria DNA. Yeah, that is right. The mitochondria DNA is right. But you have if you acknowledge you come out of the mitochondria DNA, then you are of the woman seed. We already know those who are out of the serpent seed, and we know those who are from the female seed. Though the people who are of the serpent seed, the ruling seed, the solar seed, those are the people that's going to receive mental light. Those are the people that's going to receive this advanced solar transmission and projection of light from the Amun race, our ascendants. That's who's going to receive it. Everybody ain't going to get bright overnight. Nobody's going to get that. Nobody's going to get that. Nobody's going to get that except the chosen people. That's why I said the so-called Jews, they trying to step in your place right now. They trying to step in your place because they know about the chosen people. They know about Amun. They know about these advanced beings from on high. They know about the sun and things like that. That's why people showed in the ancient world, they had their hands up to the sun in ancient Egypt and Sumeria. They've always putting their hand up. They wasn't worshiping the sun like a lot of you boneheads believe. Oh, they was worshiping the sun. They was not worshiping the sun. They wasn't worshiping the sun. They was acknowledging the sun for the projected light of intelligence that it was given to them. They always acknowledged those on high, whether they were referring to Anunnaki, Nitiru, whatever, right, as those beings who are beyond the sun. They always acknowledge that. But y'all want to get into worshiping objects because that's a people who are not tuned in to the projection or the solar projection of intelligence that's streaming through this planet that the elect are being recharged by right now. The transmission of solar projection works in a zip formation, and it works in a vertical zip formation and a linear zip formation, i.e. NZZN, 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 NZZN. Vertical zip formation and vertical upward and what's the word I want to use? Not vertical. Well, vertical and the side. Right? You're upward and sideways. Upward and sideways. So when we are getting this, when we are transmitting this, and when we are receiving it, it is coming in zip formations, right? It's coming in zip formations. We are receiving light and transmission in zip formations, right? And in zip formations, the fastest movement is blue, horizontal. Thank you. Horizontal, right? So we are receiving zip formation transmissions in that procession, and they're moving fast. And the spectrum in which is moving is blue. That's all I'm going to say on that. Rest of it is for the people in the Republic. That's the transmission of blue. Your books are blue for a reason, those who are members, right? Fastest moving in the spectrum of brightness. So as we are in that state of reception, as we are pulling in this transmission, you are strengthening your seed in the future. The whole point of moving in or opening reception as the bright race is to strengthen your genetic and your bloodline. Your seed has been weakened as the black race. Why has your seed been weakened as the black race? Because you've accepted limitations as the black race, i.e. you've accepted limited transmission or limited form of intelligence from people who have elected to put themselves over you as those in the light and you in the darkness. Because those in the darkness are always going to seek light. And by that I mean you're going to seek some form of information, some form of intelligence from these people. They're not going to give you intelligence. They're going to give you watered down intelligence, i.e. information, to think within a formation of limited thought. And this is what they do in their education system. They give you what they want to give you. They give you what they want to give you in books. They give you an artificial form of intelligence, same way they give you vitamins, same way they give you certain uh, um, artificial things to offset that which you are not getting naturally. What you're supposed to be getting naturally and eventually supernaturally is that transmission of solar projection. You're supposed to be receiving and pulling in that solar transmission of projection, in which your capabilities, your advanced capabilities of telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, intuition, and levitation, and eventual flight, right? And the penetration of solid objects, right, is in the future of. That's all laid out for you in the extended self, in the future self, for you to pick up. But a lot of you are not going to get to that point because you have decided there's nothing new under the sun. You have decided that all light, everything that's here is already in you and that you are already complete. And if you feel you're already complete, then there's nothing to add on to. There's nothing to extend you. That's why I told my people to stop saying the all. Those of you who came along with Dr. York and talking about the all, I told you that we are not the all. We are the continuous. The all is that which is complete, and nothing can be added on. The all is the box. Right? The all is the box. And in the box is the black people. And those are the people who will not receive the transmission of advanced intelligence, because the transmission of solar projection is future intelligence to extend you. It is to extend. You can't extend that which cannot be extended, that which is in the box that's already been shaped, that's already has, limited by certain ways of thinking. You can't shape that. When you refer to yourself as black people and they tell you come from Africa and this is where you started at and that, you're supposed to be this, that, and the third, there's nothing to extend to you. There's nothing more than that. You African, red, black, and green, this, that, and the third, you whatever, you black, you a Negro, there's nothing you can add on. You a Muslim, you a Christian, you an Israelite, you a physician, you a scientist, or you're not even scientist. You want to be scientist, but there's nothing to add on. Once you decide there's nothing to add on, that's you closing your mind to anything outside of yourself, because you said there's nothing outside of you. You said you are already complete. You are already whole. You know who you are. You said you African, right? You said you got your African gods and you come from that continent, and that's it. You come from one place on the earth in which you came out of the ground, or wherever you came from, or you came from monkeys, and that's all you ready to accept. That's all you willing to accept. So there is no projected vision or no projected versions or extended versions of you. There is none. And that's a lot of people on earth today. These are the people who are going to tell you there's nothing new under the sun. That's these people. That's these people who caught up in Egypt, who caught up in Africa and all that. There's nothing extended. There's nothing extended in them. They caught up in this society. That's why the majority of the black race is not going to make it, because, like I said, if we are not becoming part of this evolution of advancement, if we are not walking out of the black race or walking out of darkness to receive this protected intelligence of extended life or light, then we're going to die. They're going to die. Because you have, like I said, it's like anything. If, you have a natural selection, again, I got to bring this out. You got a natural selection that is based on advancement, mental advancement, physical advancement, because that's how you decide who's going to stay on the earth and who's going to continue forward and who's not, or those who are going to continue constantly going forward by extending the minds of these people, introducing new precepts to these people, introducing new intelligence to these people, advanced intelligence to these people, and their ability to upload this intelligence into their mind and live it out physically and alter their way of thinking, extend their way of thinking. That's the people that's going to survive. That is the people that's going to survive. The people who can't do that, they're going to die. I keep giving the analogy of the computer. When you got a computer that can't or has only a limited amount of RAM or a limited amount of memory and whatnot, and you can't extend the memory, and the memories are already pretty much filled up with the information that's on it, There's nothing you could do for it. You junk the computer and you get a new one that can extend it. That's the same way the people of the human race, the black race, are going to be. They're going to be junked for those who can extend themselves mentally, who can receive this solar ray or the sun projected light of advanced intelligence. There has to be space here in this new world to come for those who can receive this projected level of solar intelligence. These people are going to have that mental capacity, that mental capability, that those extended neurotransmitters in the brain to receive that solar intelligence, that new intelligence, that new information, as you want to refer to it, that new instruction and direction, that new knowledge that's going to extend them into the future. And for those the people, get away from the people who tell me ain't nothing new. He tell me ain't nothing new. Come and get away from them people, because those are the people who are going to drag you into the darkness with them. They was the same people. They would have been the same people 200 years ago. Talking about, ain't no new nothing coming. Ain't no new TVs. Ain't gonna be no computer. What's a computer? What's a TV? What's a car? Ain't nothing new coming. Get the hell away from those people. Get away from those people who say ain't nothing new coming. They mean ain't nothing new coming to them. Get away from them, because the more and more you talk to those kind of people, the more and more you exchange with those people, the more and more you hear and listen to their communication, they're starting to shape your mind around their limited way of thinking. And that projection of light will not go to you. It will not go to you, because you have now been converted over into their limited way of thinking. Your mind is blocking out any forms of new intelligence. In other words, you start being black again. That's why I said with the people that left from out amongst the Republic of Mentellect, they went right back to being black again. The light went out of them. They went right back to being black again, because the blackness is always calling them. They went right back to being black again. They went into the darkness again. That's it. The ones of the people who are of this evolution, not of the revolution, but the ones who are of this evolution, this linear line, right? These are the people who have extended versions of themselves that are constantly presenting themselves. It's always coming to you in some way, shape, or form outside of you. Like when you heard this message of Mentellect, those are the people who are attracted to it. Those are the people who are coming into the Republic of Mentellect, who are going to be rooted in the Republic and rooted in this new community and in this new covenant. These are the people of tomorrow. These are the people of the constant tomorrow, the people that's going to stay here, the people that came here to live this life and build this community. These are the people who are of the chosen. Those are the people who are going to receive that solar extended intelligence of light transmission or bright transmission from solar transmission of sunlight. They're going to receive that. Their ascendants have made it to the other side. That's why you feel that strong connection to it. Those who stay here, that means that because of what you do today, that means your children, at least one of them, maybe two, if you two or three of them, or your grandchildren, your nephews, whatever, they done made it. And they represent you on the other side of this transmission. They represent you in the future. Because what you do here, when you receive this knowledge of Mentellect, when you receive this solar transmission, when you start seeing exactly what I'm describing to you, when it no longer feels like, oh, I don't know what the brother talking about. When you can start to visualize what I'm saying to you, and it start coming in clear, something's happening to you. Because you have no idea how many people will sit here and listen to this, and they'll be like, what the hell is this nigga talking about? They're going to say, what the hell is this guy talking about? Oh, that's pseudo, brother. What is he talking about? That's pseudo. But to you, it makes perfect sense. This is the division. This is the divide. This is the number 10. This is the 0 from the 1. This is the 0 from the 1. This is the divide. Right now. This is the 0 from the 1. The people who are going to be moving in the revolution or in the rotation, and those who are going to be moving in the linear line separate from them. This is the 10 right here. And then the word N is Lord, in the year of our Lord, which is when Mentellect reached me in 2010. Mentellect reached me. Amen sent me that in 2010. Right? Amen sent me Mentellect in 2010. And it was to gather the people and separate them from the ones who are going to constantly be moving in the rotation or in the revolution, a.k.a. black revolution, separate into a new line of black bright evolution. Separate those in black revolution from those who are going to be in the bright evolution, the solar connection, the solar people, the soul people, the regenerated people, not the degenerated people, but the regenerated people. That was the sign of these days to come. The solar projection works only for those who are in alignment with it. It only works for those who are receptive to it. It ain't gonna work on the people who say, "Oh, well, brother, where can I read this in the book? I like what you're saying, brother. Where can I read this in the book?" You black. The minute you say that, you black. It's not for you. You looking for the white man to say it. You looking for him to give validation to the words. That means you still black. You still behind them. You still seeking light from man. There's no real light coming from man. Whatever light man got, he got transmitted to him from the Amen being, who are projecting sunlight into this planet, in which they are transmitting all forms of intelligence to different people with different genetic makeups and different races. They're transmitting that. Like I said before, I said those of our people who are of the bright race, we see receiving a level of intelligence. Those who are stuck, those who are of the white race, the so-called white race, the Asian, all these people who are of these different races are receiving streams of projected solar communication and transmission of intelligence onto this planet. They're receiving it, and they are uploading it based on who they are genetically. They are uploading it, and they are getting a comprehension of it based on who they are genetically as part of the human race. When were they created here? What time? That's the basis of how they upload this knowledge, how they utilize it, how they extend themselves by it based on that race of people. So if our people don't even know who they are, if our people are not a regenerated people, if our people are people still in darkness seeking light from everybody else, and the other people, like I said, from the Caucasian to the Eastern and the Asian, they receiving this light from on high. They're seeking outwardly for that intelligence that they're getting inwardly, and we still talking about, oh, well, you got to go in yourself and get it, or you looking for the white man to give it to you. Y'all off. Y'all finished. There's nothing for you. There's nothing coming to you. They had this news report out about a year ago. They're talking about the alarming rate of vitamin D deficiency in black people, right? And that is within you. That is your ability to process that solar projected light, that solar projected intelligence. That deficiency stops you from absorbing that light. And if you are not absorbing that light, you are not absorbing the intelligence on that light. You are not absorbing the figures or the mathematics on that light. Because the light comes from the bright pathmatic transmission of linear connection, and when it transforms or transmits over into this realm, into this earthbound realm, into this physical realm, it becomes light transmission. It goes from bright transmission to light transmission. And once it goes into light transmission, there's a split of dark transmission. So one strong light comes into this atmosphere and splits into two, both light and dark. It splits into two, light and dark, from the brightness, where it becomes recognizable once it goes into a stage of light. It becomes recognizable, and the people, once it goes into a stage of light, once the brightness is refined into a state of light, then the people who are of the illuminated or the chosen people, they start to take it and teach it to the people gradually as education, as information. They start to teach it to the people in darkness, the people who are in ignorance, in a state of ignorance. They don't know that these people are receiving that intelligence, that information from a higher source. They don't know that. The elites, your Illuminati, your luminaries, the so-called scientists, the so-called learned people on earth, the ones you look up to, the ones who y'all buy their books and spend $150 and $200 on, they ain't telling you everything. They're not telling you nothing. They're not trying to tell you everything. They're making sure they hold things back from you. They making sure of that. They making sure they give you just what they willing to give you within the darkness, to keep you in the darkness, and to keep themselves in the light, and receiving that bright transmission of solar projection. They know all about it. When I wrote the book last year, right? When I wrote the book about the creation of when I wrote about the creation and the evolution on Earth, right? When I wrote that book last year, 6 to 7 months later, when I talked about in that book how light is converted to how I talked about how light is converted to physical mass, right? Or physical matter, how light it can be converted to physical matter, and how our ascendants converted light to physical matter in order to create what you see around you, the solid mass of the planet and things like that. Then all of a sudden your scientists came, all of a sudden, oh, we come with this new thing about light being converted into solid mass. This was like 7 to 8 months later when I wrote my book, and it's a copywritten book that we're going to put back out again. When I was describing things in there that your so-called scientists are now saying. I was describing stuff in there that I said before they even came out and said it. The logical facts of creation and evolution on Earth and beyond. I'm going to put that book right back out from the ᴜsᴇᴅ book series, where I talked about light being transferred or converted into solid mass. Right? How it was projected light that was transmitted into solid mass. We're going to do a video on that. One of these days I'm going to read out of the book. I might just read out the book and do an audio book on it. Right? I might just do that. So, like I said, we have to have an ultra standing. This transmission of projected intelligence is only going to come to certain people. It's only going to come to certain people. It's only going to come to a chosen people who are open mentally to receive it, who are going to stand together in the collective to receive it. It's only going to come to a certain group of people. Be ready. In each transmission of projected light per square gram is the extension of who you are. When you can't see the brightness, when it's hard for you to adjust your light to the brightness of the sun, because people were talking about this a lot. They were talking about the ability to stare at the sun, what they call sun gazing, right? Because that, in a sense, is you trying to get yourself used to that brightness of the solar illumination. You're trying to get yourself used to it. You're trying to adjust your eyes to it because you know deep down inside you're supposed to be receiving something from it. That's why you're gazing at it. You are receiving power from it, energy from it, and you're also supposed to be receiving intelligence from it, knowledge from it. You're supposed to be receiving instruction from it, right? And that instruction is the evolution into, or the growth into your future self. That is the evolution of the growth into your future self, right? This is what you're supposed to be receiving from it. But you stunt your growth because you still want to do it as black people. You want to do it as black people. Trying to receive light or trying to receive instruction and direction from solar projection as black people is like trying to charge a dead battery, right, that got all the juices going out of it. That's what that's like. Like you'll have a car battery, right, and all the battery acid or whatever that could, that can charge the battery is going out of it, or it's just wore out and you got to get a totally new battery. You're going to keep charging it, and it's only going to go but so far, your car, and then it's going to die. It's the same way as you trying to charge black people with this solar projection or this regeneration of light transmission or solar projected transmission. It is the same way. You can't do it. This is why you have people come into ᴜsᴇᴅ and they'll come in all pumped up and they're like, yeah, the bright race. And then over time, the light leaves them and they go back to being black again. They go back to being dead batteries. They pumped up off the intelligence and the intel is being shared through ᴜsᴇᴅ, but then they end up going right back into darkness. They fade to black, as I say. They go right back into darkness, right back amongst the black race. They just die out. They fade because their the existence of who they are, the reality of who they are, the limitations in who they are mentally is all filled up. In other words, they fit themselves firmly within and rooted themselves firmly within this time and this space as black people. They rooted themselves in this. They become part of the box that is not able to extend itself. They become part of it. That's why I say we left out of the black box and got into the bright vessel. The bright vessel represents that which can constantly be moving. Vessel is that which can constantly be moved, right? Constantly be motivated. So when we receive this, those of us who are mentalists, those who are of the Republic of Mentalists, we learn and we know that each extension of light projection that we are receiving through Mentellect and through this knowledge is representing advanced versions of ourselves. When you're looking into the brightness and there's certain things you can't really comprehend, and you starting to comprehend it more and more, you are reaching advanced stages of yourself. You are reaching higher and advanced stages of yourself as one of the bright race. Because you're referring to yourself as bright people, something you probably would have never did 2-3 years ago. People would have thought you was crazy. But now it's not crazy anymore. Now people are starting to refer to themselves as becoming part of something like this because the extension is taking place. And the more and more the extension takes place, it no longer sounds out of the ordinary, out of the norm anymore. It's something that is taking place, something that is happening, an evolution that is long overdue. It's an evolution that's long overdue where that elected, that chosen people would start receiving this solar projected form of transmitted intelligence to move them forward, to push them into a state of evolution. I said that time officially started in 2010 when I received the word Mentellect. Before that time, 6 years ago, there was no reception. I was just teaching here and there, and I didn't know what to call it. I was teaching. Then Mentellect came in 2010. And after that, the transmission has been getting clearer and clearer and clearer. The reception or that solar projection of intelligence has been stronger and stronger and stronger, and only those who are of that extended bloodline, of that extended seed, of that Aminic seed, those who are of the chosen are going to be able to receive this. These are the people who are on the path to finding the extended self. The people who are lost in this, the people who think all I got to do is sun gaze and I'll get it, but you still doing black stuff. You ain't changed, because once you start receiving this solar projected transmission, once you start receiving this, then you have to stop doing the things that keep you being black people. You have to stop following the ways and thinking of mankind. You have to stop getting high, stop drinking, stop following their ways. You know the ways I'm talking about, the black ways, the submental ways. You have to stop following that, because if you are truly in reception of that projected and transformative intelligence, then it's going to force you to stop doing certain things. You ain't going to want to get high no more. You ain't going to want to sit around and do what you was doing before, talk with stupid people anymore. You're not going to want to be around a whole lot of people anymore, because like I said, it's not going to be within your projection. It's not going to be within your transmission. It's not going to be within your scope of thought. Your mind is going to be raised above that. You can feel an actual raising of your mind when this is going into you, and then you go back around regular people, and you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to vibe with these people. The frequency is going to be off, and they're going to know it. They ain't going to want to be around you neither, because that projection of intelligence, which is extending you, is not extending them. They're in the same place. You in a whole different other place. This is the natural selection that's taking place amongst our people. Something that's long overdue, and a lot of people are trying to stop that. This is why you got so many ignorant images in the world today. They're using black people to put, to keep this ignorant image going. They putting all this out there because they want to stop this evolution. They want to stop this evolution. And black people are working with them hand in hand to stop this evolution. They want to stop this because the evolution of the bright race means the surpassing of all races, even of all races within the human race. You will surpass all races within the human race because the Amenic seed, the almond race, those who are extensions or those who are descendants of the almond race were meant to come ahead of everybody anyway. They were meant to come ahead of everybody. They were meant to lead the world as the bright race, not as the black, but as the bright race, as the solar intelligent race. That's why I said black people who have accepted they are black, they don't have souls anymore. Their souls are gone. The light is gone in them. They're spirit beings now. They're people in darkness. They are people of the lunar state. They cannot receive that solar projection of extended intelligence. They can't receive it. They can't receive that direction and destruction. Instruction and direction that is going to advance and extend them. They can't receive it because there is no extension of them. There is no extended or higher or advanced self within black people. So when you start talking about telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, intuition, they'll say, yeah, brother, I'm with that, I like that, but they're not really with it. They can't really grasp it. They can't see it in themselves because they're not part of that. They're not part of it. They don't have the extended memory to be a part of that, and that projected transmission can't extend that. It can't. To see the thing with that projected solar transmission is it can't extend something that is unextendable. It can't extend something. In other words, there has to be something there naturally that you're born with that can be extended. There has to be something there for you that can be extended. If it's not in you to be extended, then you won't be extended. No matter how strong the light is, no matter how much you stare into the sun, no matter how much you sun gaze and all this other stuff, you're still going to be black. Because whoever or whatever you done did or whatever you can't overcome as black people, whatever that decides whether you, your children, whatever seeds you're going to have, they're going to be black people too. They're not going to be of the bright race. They're not. They didn't make it. If your children didn't make it on the other side of this thing, on the other side of this matrix, when I say the other side of this thing, I'm talking about on the other side of this matrix, because there's going to come a time where the matrix of the beast, this material world, this false world that he has you operating in, that he got you running in circles in, where he got you believing that money really matters, where he got you believing that politics and all this other nonsense matters, land and all that other stuff matters, when he got you believing that is going to eventually run out. That's going to eventually run out. And when that state runs out, when he leaves, and that stage of his matrix where he got going within the society runs out, and he goes to another planet, when he heads on to Mars, then everybody's going to be left for themselves to fend for themselves and to have to think about the next order which is going to be put up. And that's when the separation of those who are intelligent from those who are ignorant is really going to take hold, because the intelligent ones are going to take hold of the planet, and the ignorant ones are going to be in bondage, or they're going to be in under those people. They're going to be under those people, so a new order will come up where the intelligent will lead the ignorant. And it's all going to be through that solar projected transmission of sun energy onto the planet. This is why, if you notice, the white man is pushing heavily, and he's being transmitted to push this. He's being transmitted to push solar panels and solar energy. He's being transmitted to push that because he has to have something to channel that solar energy into, because he knows that this planet is going to be hit with a burst or a solar burst of energy. So he's trying to what's the word I want to use? He's trying to make it not as strong, because if you have this solar energy being channeled into different outlets of power, then the blast is not going to be that strong, because it's already being channeled here already. It's already being utilized here already. He didn't decide on his own to get the planet ready for solar power. These almond beings did. They're getting you ready for a bright new future in which this planet is going to be run on solar power. It's not going to be run on fossil fuel anymore. It's not going to be run on water energy anymore. And as it's being run on this solar energy or this solar power, as it's being run that way, the people who are the solar children or the solar babies, those who are born in the solar age, 1970 and afterwards, they're going to be the ones that are going to inherit the power on Earth. These are our ascendants. And this is why the beast wants to take your children. He wants to take hold of your children. Somebody put something on my page the other day, and I said, see, everything I'm saying. Here it is. It was this, I don't know if a black woman made this movie or what. Obviously, some whites produced it, about this little black boy who had heavy mental and superhero type capabilities, little black boy, and he was being raised by his mother, right? And she was saying that she has help from her friend, quote unquote friend, some white man that help her in raising the little black boy. They showed a picture of his father, who was, I guess was a soldier in the military, who was dead, and the white man stepped in to raise her son with the black woman, and the boy had high mental capabilities and what you would call superpower. This is real. They're not making movies like that for no reason. They want to take hold of your ascendants. You better watch your children. You Negroes worrying about what's going on with your world. You better watch your children, because that's the key to his rulership in the future, to block out that light, that solar projected light unto you and your children, and to stop you from becoming a community. That's why he's putting so much energy into your young MAs and all them people, because they want to destroy your children from receiving that solar projected light. To become those advanced beings. They're trying to stop your evolution right now, in real time. And a lot of people who are in blackface are helping them. They're helping them. And every day that you stay black within the black race, you're helping them too. So let me go ahead and read these questions before we get out of here. Are sun rays being used by advanced beings to send intelligence to chosen people on Earth? Yes. Yes. And that the purpose of that is to extend those who were chosen, those who were meant to go through this evolution, to extend their life into the future, to extend their intelligence into the future. So you have to have intelligence. You have to be part of that natural selection, right, to extend your intelligence and extend your genetic and bloodline into the future, right, to regenerate your bloodline into the future, to be part of this new evolution in this new world, or this next world is coming. Because if you don't go become part of that thing, like I said, you will become extinct as a people. That's why you don't have the Cro-Magnon man here no more. This is why you don't have Homo habilis and all these other so-called extensions or these different evolutions of the Caucasian and the humans here anymore, because they were going through evolutions. You go through evolutions all the time. The so-called black race is overdue. The evolution of the so-called black race is the bright race, meaning those who are coming out of the black race, those who carry that solar intelligence. They're going to receive that solar burst of intelligence. 716, you're going to have to call back tomorrow on Saturday because you called too late. We like 4 minutes left. I'm answering questions. Call back tomorrow at 9. Why is this being done? To extend the life of the people, to regenerate the people, right? Because if our people don't go through this, a degree of our people don't go through this regeneration, and they finished. That's it. There's no more. Like I said, there's no lower black people can go. They done went pretty low already. There's no lower they can go. So there has to be some of our people that are going to spring up as a whole new people, right? Who are the advanced beings? The Amen being I've been talking about. The Amen being the ones who created the human race, who created the human race in their image and after their likeness, the artificial versions of the Amen being. These are the advanced beings who are sending the intelligence, who are using the sunlight to project intelligence onto the planet to their chosen people in this day and time. Why do they choose certain people? Because everybody's not their people. Everybody's not their people. They're only going to choose their descendants, the people who are connected to them through blood. Those who are of Amenic descent, not those of Adamic descent. And like I said, you got your Caucasians, your East Indians, your Asians, your Africans, and all of them. They're of Adamic descent. We of the bright race, of the Amen race, are of Amenic descent. How do we know this factually is true? I just been telling you for over 2 hours that everything you get, everything you receive comes outward in order to function in this world. You don't have nothing packed up inside you naturally. You don't know how to do anything naturally that you're not seeing. It enacts with you inside, and you start doing certain things, but you have to always receive things outside of you to start doing things on a higher level within. It's an exchange thing. Give and take, take and give. There's no such thing as I'm going to take. You just think, oh, I got this in me, and I got it from nowhere. It's just in me, and I'm just doing stuff. It don't work like that. Even the so-called people who got so-called natural capabilities, right? Like they could be good athletes, right? You still getting that from one of your parents or somebody who got that in them. Through your father, through your mother, it's still coming from outside you and going inside you to make that up. So everything comes from outside in. No such thing as you being born and everything is inside you and you're going to just explode. You're receiving from somewhere and you're putting out what you're getting. What does this mean for the future? This means the evolution of the future of our people, the bright race. I'm doing this for the bright race. And that's it. Join us tomorrow night for the next Mentellect Radio broadcast. I am the intellectual noob ɪṛᴜnᴇᴅ. This has been Mentellect Radio. Good night.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the bright race, out the black race to the bright race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the bright race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that